Hi, George Teixeira, tax partner and practice leader of Anchin's Financial Services Group.
Hi, David Horton. I'm an attest partner and the leader of assurance practice in the Financial Services Group. We make it our business to get out in the market, listen to as much as possible, not only do that, but go to events, attend different types of conferences, and really put ourselves in a position to absorb as much knowledge as possible, as often as possible.
Well, back in late 2017, when the last set of tax cuts happened in the CGMA in late 2017, I then formed a committee of all tax leads from the various accounting firms in the industry, and we met on a weekly basis to digest the law and make sure we all understood it. We're all on the same page. There were disagreements, but again, it was one way to make sure that we were upfront about this, and obviously that group grew to be a very large group, and we still meet to this day, although not on a weekly basis.
We can develop with them a plan that helps them avoid as many pitfalls as possible, helps them navigate some of the more treacherous areas that sometimes trip people up. Working with them to make sure they have the right service providers in place, working with them to make sure they have the right setup from an audit or a tax standpoint from the beginning, and really coming down to an understanding of how they operate and how they're looking to progress into the future so that we could help them along the right path as early as possible.
Knowing where they came from, their pedigree, whether they were at a larger fund and need a different degree of assistance, whether they're just launching their own fund, they were at another fund and they're launching their first fund, different degree of handholding. We tell them we're building our relationship with them, so a lot of that handholding early on in the process to help them get through that. And depending on what asset base they're launching, what asset number they're launching with, it's basically convincing them maybe you don't need to hire a CFO or somebody right off the bat. Maybe work with some of these outsourced CFO services that could help and obviously save dollars early on in the process. And you could always grow into the process where you need to hire a CFO or beef up your other service providers. I can recall recently working with one of our large hedge fund groups / family office group that were going through a transaction, a sale that was going to be a substantial gain. So, and obviously we knew about it beforehand, so we could plan, right? And that's important when it comes to tax planning, is planning ahead. The more lead time we have, I think we can structure around anything. The tax savings on this particular transaction were over $100 million. That's real savings, had a real happy client, and with enough lead time, that's what we can do. For me, it's the Emerging Managers Group that we launched some years ago, I would say 4 years ago. Right, we work very well with startups. We work with a lot of startups that are now our mature clients that have been with us since the beginning. So we figured that was a gap in what we saw in our competition, that we could launch this platform to help these emerging managers when they start out, not just with their tax, not with just their audit, but just with the different service providers they'll have to hire, the different things they'll have to go through to launch their fund and try and be successful. The full firm picture, right? It's a team approach, audit and tax working together. We have some very smart people here. It's not my client, it's not David's client, it's the firm's client. We're going to obviously service them to the best of our abilities and bring in service professionals from different industries to be able to assist as well. And look, being a tax professional, my job is to find answers to their questions and then find the questions to the stuff they're not asking me and trying to adjust those questions. In tax law, there's a lot of black and white. There's also shades of gray. So my job is to give them multiple answers, right? In many cases, there are multiple answers to tax questions.
The firm is owned by every one of the partners. We haven't taken in anything from outside private equity, and we think that positions ourselves really well to listen to our clients, be individual when they need to be individualized, to adapt, to be able to move through the process as easy as possible and be nimble and understanding of our clients when it needs to be.